right, we are continuing with some single leg training. So we're going to do some lateral movements on single leg. Instead of having everything be front to back, we're going to work on some side to side stuff. So we're going to do the lateral lunge. And then from there, we'll kind of work on two different regressions, one based on range of motion, one based on stability, and just kind of build from there. So a lateral lunge is going to start with the feet together. We're going to take a step out to one side. The goal here is keep knees, hips, and toes all facing straight ahead. We don't, unlike a regular squat, we don't want to actually open up the hips to create some external rotation here. We want to keep everything dead ahead just based on some of the mechanics that's going to go into this. So I'm going to step off with one leg. So I land, ideally, is just as wide as my hips will allow me to go while still standing upright like this. Because I could go a little wider if I let my hips go back, but then I can never return to the fully upright position, so it's counterproductive. So I want to find where is this depth. As I've stepped, now I'm going to start split squatting or lunging with this side. This leg is going to stay totally straight. On this side, my hips go back. My knee is going to track out so it stays directly over this foot at the low position right here. Okay, and then I just need to drive all the way back to the upright position. This non-stepping leg stays straight the whole time. Okay, I do not want to start cheating and pressing with this thigh. So when I step out again, it's land, come all the way down, again my hips go back, my knee is just tracking just out here. I don't need to go any wider than this. And then this leg stays straight. So as I push back up, here I am. So if you look at it from the side, my hip mechanics are going to look something like it's a cross between a squat and a deadlift because it's really neither. So here, you can see the hips do have to drive back quite a bit in this position. So I'm not getting full movement at the knee. I'm not getting full movement at the hip, but I'm getting some of that lateral stability through like my glute medius and other like the hip rotator muscles to come back. So one of the best ways to load it, I think, is with a single weight, either a dumbbell or a kettlebell. Dumbbell or kettlebell, it really doesn't matter whether it's a dumbbell or kettlebell, but we want to hold the weight on the non-stepping, so the stationary side. So that way when I step, this weight can just hang right in between my leg, and then I can come back up with it. If I hold it on this side, the challenge is now I don't quite know what to do once I'm about here. Do I keep it over here? Do I keep it over here? It's never quite in the right spot. Staying over here works really well. Okay, so that's your lateral lunge. Now there's two different regressions you can use. One is if you don't have the strength or stability for the stepping motion, just do it as a stationary movement. So that would just be here, and then just lunging down and driving back up. So you're removing the step. Okay, hips go back, and then come back up. So easiest place to do is regress to a stationary movement if you don't have the ability to get that stepping motion, either because you're not strong enough or you just don't have the stability. If it's a flexibility standpoint, we can use some sort of a foot elevation to allow a little bit more hip and knee motion. So if I were to use, so this is a 6-inch box, so when I step here, now when I drive out, I can get a little bit more movement now at the knee than I could with my foot flat on the floor. So sometimes that's going to be just flexibility dependent. Sometimes it'll be based on how long are your legs relative to your torso. If you've got super long legs and a pretty short torso, this might help because it'll help you offset your center of gravity a little bit. So again, it's just this side step, now big step. Same stuff, this leg is still straight, this knee is still tracking right over this foot. My hips are still driving back, and I would hold the weight the exact same way and then drive back to the start. So that's the lateral lunge and a couple of different regressions. Give it a shot, let me know what you think.